So Best Part by her and Daniel Caesar is probably one of the most celebrated R&B hits of the last few years. And it's a simple song based off one chord progression made by 4 chords. And these chords are D major 7, A minor 7, G major 7, and B flat major 7 as well. Okay. Now, when you learn this song, all you need, guys, is learning the chord positions, learning that on the last chord, the B flat major 7, you actually extend it to the 13th, so you're moving the 5th up to the 6th, which is the 13th, and in actual fact playing a B flat major 13, like this. Okay. And the timing that goes 1 and 2 and 3, 4, so it has that percussive feel on 2 and 4, and the second pluck of each chord always happens on the offbeat number 2, 1 and 2 and, okay, and it's always something that you do with 4 fingers, so you pluck 4 strings simultaneously. Okay, then there is a bridge that not everyone knows. It's about 2 minutes 45 seconds in if you listen to the original record, and it essentially stays on the same chord progression, but it adds a melody to each chord. So it goes, which means that some of these chords are actually extended above the 7th, okay? So this is all you need, guys. So if you practice this, you practice the timing and the embellishments, and you've got your song. So thanks for watching. Okay, so today we're gonna learn the music theory of this song. We're gonna understand this song, because particularly when you do those embellishments, you know, and create that type of melody, you are actually describing something much more interesting in the music theory of this chord progression. So stay with me till the end of the video to learn all about Best Part. Okay. Now let's start by saying that we are in the key of D major. The tonal center of this chord progression, the chord that feels like home, is the D major 7, the first chord. But if we look at the entire chord progression, only the D major 7 and G major 7 actually belong to the key of D major. The other 2 chords, A minor 7 and B flat major 7, they don't belong to this key, so they are external chords. And Best Part is actually one of those songs, the chord progression in Best Part is actually one of those chord progressions that I use to explain one concept, one music theory concept, called modal interchange. Okay, the modal interchange is when you borrow one chord from a parallel scale. Okay, so you can't borrow chords from random scales, it has to be a parallel scale. Now, a parallel scale or a parallel key is when these keys, these scales actually share the root. So if you say D major and D minor, they are parallel because they share the note D, which is the root for both. It's not the only example. You may have different parallel scales, which we're going to look into later to explain some of those extensions. But yeah, the main example is when you borrow from the parallel minor if you are in a major key, or from the parallel major if you are in a minor key. Okay, another really big hit of R&B and neo soul that you can refer to is Untitled How Does It Feel by D'Angelo, which is in D major, but it has a couple of chords that are actually borrowed from the parallel minor. Now, before we continue, let me tell you that if you enjoy this type of chord progressions and you want to learn more about it, maybe you want to learn how to create your own chord progressions, there is now my R&B and neo soul acoustic guitar course available on Skillshare with over 40 lessons and over 4 hours of content available for you for 1 month absolutely free if you click the link in the description below, which will give you 1 month of free trial of Skillshare, and during that month you can check out my course and all of the other courses available on Skillshare for absolutely free. So if you are interested in learning literally every single detail about this style on acoustic guitar, check out my course at the link in the description below. So coming back to our chord progression, we did say that D major 7 and G major 7 belong to the key of D major. They are the 1 and the 4, okay? So what about that A minor 7 and B flat major 7, which we said they don't belong to D major? We could look into them as two chords that you borrow from the parallel minor, from D minor, from the key of D minor. In the key of D minor, you would have both an A minor 7 and a B flat major 7. But if we analyze something more about this song, we will soon figure out that this doesn't actually work and it's not the real answer to this harmonic analysis for this song. Because although the A minor 7 and B flat major 7 belong to the key of D minor, when we play those melodies and embellishments or extensions to the chords towards the end of the song, okay, in that sort of bridge of the song, we can find something that goes beyond the harmonic analysis. It's more a melodic analysis, in fact, because it contains an analysis of the notes in the melody, doing this kind of thing, okay? So let's get into these embellishments and extensions to really understand the chords first and then explain where they come from, okay? So when we play the D major 7, we are not really extending the chord. You stay on a D major 7, but instead of plucking the strings 5, 4, 3, 2, you're now plucking the second time the strings 5, 3, 2, 1, so that the highest note is now the note A, which is the fifth of the chord, so it is a note of the chord. You're just changing the voicing of this D major 7 from this, where the highest note is F sharp, the major third, to this, where the highest note is A, so the perfect fifth, doing a small change, but really interesting for what is coming next, which is the A minor 7, where this time, this is the key of everything. We're gonna do this melody F sharp, E. So we play an A minor 7, but we extend it to the F sharp, which is the major 6th or major 13th, so that you have an A minor 13, which gets back into an A minor 7. So F sharp, 6th or 13th, into E, which is the 5th. And because we were doing F sharp, A, into now F sharp, E, you know, there is an ascending and then descending movement on notes that actually belong to the key of D major, to the D major scale, or if you like, to the D major pentatonic. Okay. And then when you go to the G major 7, you're just copying what we do during the entire song on the B flat major 7. So we know that during the song, we've seen that in the first part of the video, the B flat major 7 goes plain first, and then as a B flat major 13. So you're moving the 5th, you're removing the 5th, actually, you're replacing it with the 6th or 13th, so that you are playing a B flat major 13th, which means a B flat major 7 extended to the 13th, obviously played on mid 5 because we said that we are removing the 5th. And you do the same in this bridge or final part of the song on the G major 7. Okay, which is exactly the same as this. And it is followed by this. Okay, so the whole variation in this bridge goes like. So that's all we need to really play the entire song, including the variation at the end. But now let's get back into the analysis. We did say that we've got these two chords, 1 and 4 in D major, and these two chords which are external, they are a modal interchange, we are borrowing them, and it's 2 chords out of 4, so it's quite a lot. But we did say that we are not really just borrowing them from D minor, from the parallel minor, because although they do belong to D minor, when you extend them, you need to look into which type of extensions you get if they belong to the key of D minor. So this isn't really a problem for the B flat major 7, which we're going to look into in a moment, but let's look at the A minor 7. If you are in the key of D minor, if you are borrowing it from the key of D minor. That's gonna be the 5 minor. Now the 5 minor, the 5 in a minor key, is a Phrygian chord, okay, which is the same as the 3 in a major key, okay. And what that means when you extend it is that one of the extensions that you get is the flat 6 or the flat 13, which is this note F, like this. Okay, now obviously you can immediately feel that that note is dissonant, and this is obvious because in the Phrygian mode, in the Phrygian scale, that note is a strong dissonance, okay, right? So we usually don't play it, and it's not even played in best part, because instead of playing this, which is the note F, the flat 6 or flat 13, we actually play the note F sharp, which is the major 6th or major 13th. But if we are borrowing this chord from D minor, you don't have that note. So that is telling us that you're not really borrowing it from the key of D minor, from the parallel minor. You are borrowing it from another parallel scale, because remember, if it's a modal interchange, you must borrow it from a parallel scale. But that scale is D mixolydian, which is another scale which contains D as a root, and it's in fact the 5th mode of G major. So you are pretending for a moment that you are in G major, that you are in D mixolydian. And in D mixolydian, the 5 chord is gonna be A minor 7, so the chord that we play all the time, but the extension that you get is the note F sharp, because now this is not a Phrygian chord anymore. It's actually a Dorian chord, okay? The 2nd degree of G major or the 5th degree of D mixolydian, okay? So what that means is that because we're playing that extension, we can say that the A minor 7 is not borrowed from D minor, or the Aeolian if you like. It's borrowed from the mixolydian, which means that the A minor 7 you play is Dorian instead of being Phrygian, and the extension that you get as a 13th is a major 13th, which is actually quite logical if you look at it as, well, this note is the major 3rd of D major 7, our 1st chord, but also the key center, the chord that we feel like home. Sounds much more musical if you look at it this way, sounds much more consonant, okay? So now that we have learned that the A minor 7 is borrowed from D mixolydian, what about the B flat major 7, B flat major 13th? Well, this chord is actually borrowed from D minor, from the parallel minor. It is the Lydian chord in D minor. Now, what does Lydian chord really mean? Now, if you are in a major key, the Lydian mode is the 4th mode. So you can call the 4th chord the Lydian chord. If you are in C major, that would be F Lydian, okay? Now, if you are in a relative minor, so if you are in a minor key, instead of having the Lydian chord and the Lydian scale on the 4th degree, you have it on the 6th, which we call the flat 6, because it's the minor 6th degree that you actually find in a minor scale, in an Aeolian scale, okay? It doesn't have the major 6th. So what that means is that you can say the B flat major 7 is the flat 6 major 7, or Lydian chord, borrowed from D minor, okay? It's the chord that you would find in D minor all the time. How many times we've played something like this on the channel? So this is the 6th chord that you find in the key of D minor. We label them in Roman numerals in our analysis as flat 6 major 7, and you can now say that when you play best part, you're in the key of D major, playing the 1 major 7, then you go to the 5 minor 7, which is a Dorian chord that you borrow from D mixolydian. Then you go to G major 7, which is the 4 major 7, Lydian chord in the key of D major. And then you go to B flat major 7, flat 6 major 7, which you borrow from D minor, from the parallel minor, and it's another Lydian chord. Guys, more resources like the tabs and the music theory analysis of this chord progression, as well as any other chord progression that you find on the channel, are available on my Patreon. So head to my Patreon and feel free to leave any questions in the comments below, because I read every single comment.